Good morning everyone, I'm Kaye here on my homestead in Tennessee. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I live on a little over 9 acres in Tennessee after being an urban gardener in a very small space in California. Two of the most beautiful things about growing a garden are flowers and butterflies, of course. And without flowers, you don't have butterflies. They bring us joy, beauty, and fascination. And I became fascinated with butterflies my very first year of late bloomer in 2012 when I had the opportunity to meet a citizen scientist who tracked monarchs and raised monarchs in her house. And I did a video with her very first year, just a few months after I started my channel. I'll put the link right up there. And learned so much from her. And then, of course, my interest in monarchs began. I have a whole playlist on monarchs, from the migration to the metamorphosis. We followed the monarch migration, the western monarch migration. And so I have a lot of material on the monarch. I'll put that right up there. But today we're going to take a look at the black swallowtail. I have been covered up in black swallowtails. I discovered 5 full size, which is 5th instar. They shed their skin 4 times to arrive at the largest size, which then becomes the cocoon. And I found those on my fennel yesterday. I have 2 plants, dill and fennel, which I put in 5-gallon nursery pots, thinking that they'll drop seeds and then they'll just come back next year. I won't have to start them again and all of that. I don't know if that's going to happen. The dill never got going. I never had a harvest off the dill. And the fennel was, it had a few branches, and of course that's where they went. They will go to either one, whichever one looks better. So check out the footage from yesterday in the very bright sun, and also read the titles. I put a lot of information on the screen. Take a look. Okay, so now we're just going to go check on them again. I'll show you in context where they are. The dill never did well, and I've got about 3 little sprigs and little flowers here. Few little flowers here. It just kept drying out, and so I finally put them both in a tray with water so that they wouldn't. And so I still have, let's see, 1, 2, where are they? 3, 4. Okay, there were 5 yesterday. Let's see. Oop, don't step on anything. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. You see them? And they're just eating and pooping. When the stem gets really thick like that, they just kind of stop because they're done. They eat everything else first. And I suppose if they had to, they could crawl over here and eat this, but I think they're almost done. This is 5th instar. About 2.5, it's about 2 digits of my finger. It was blasting hot. I had let the cats in because they decided they wanted to come in early. It felt like 92, and it was about 1 o'clock. Well, the sun was still overhead. And I said, you want to come in? And so they came in, and a lizard ran across, and I went over to see if the lizard went into the garage. And that's when I discovered them, and I'm going, oh, I've got to go get my camera. I said, okay, Kaye, that's enough. Let's go inside. I was dripping wet. I look over right there, and my beautiful, what was the most beautiful plant in my whole garden, including fruit trees and everything else, is my cranberry hibiscus, which I would have to say is 10 times bigger than when I planted it. I started it from a cutting. Anyway, the whole thing had collapsed down the hill onto the moringa and the orange tie. I thought we were going to be working in the garden today, and I said, oh, can I just wait till tomorrow? No, I said, no, Kaye, you cannot wait till tomorrow. The damage might be permanent. You know, I was flummoxed, or let's see, I was, what's the word when you're, I was panicking because I thought, oh my gosh, my beautiful plant, and I only have 1 moringa, and it's just downhill of that. And I thought, Kaye, you've got to rescue that plant right now. And then I went in there and I fished out I haven't even lifted that T-post pounder and slammed it down probably in 3 years myself. But I grabbed a 5-footer T-post and the pounder and some rope, and I came back and I thought I was filming all of that. I thought this is going to be the best footage I'm going to have all year, because you haven't seen me do anything like that in a while. I thought it was not recording, and it was recording, and I turned it off instead of turning it, thinking, you know, so you missed all that. So I first hit a rock, then I had to, you know, pounding about 6 times, hit a rock, and it wasn't stable, and so I had to wiggle it out and put it over here. Wasn't as good of an angle. I wanted it to come straight back up the hill. But anyway, I got it tied off and everything, and then we pick it up when I'm deciding that I have to stake up the moringa. So I'm putting a stake in the moringa plant. Take a look. So it rained yesterday, and this thing is wilted. So now I'm going to show you what it looks like today. And I can tell you that the moringa looks good. The cranberry hibiscus it had the most beautiful, perfect shape. And it no longer has a beautiful, perfect shape, but at least it's upright. Remember the footage of the giant swallowtail? The giant swallowtail, by the way, has a different, very different caterpillar from the black swallowtail. And I'm a little fuzzy. I was looking online. I'm a little fuzzy on the difference between the yellow swallowtail, the regular yellow swallowtail, and the black swallowtail caterpillar. But the giant swallowtail looks like a drop of bird poop. Okay? You can't miss it. It's just like, wow, that was some big bird that dropped that wad there on that leaf. No, so anyway, I filmed that giant swallowtail, what, about 2 weeks ago? So let's go over and see if we can find any evidence of caterpillars on the kaffir lime. Let's pull it out here so we can see it better. Let me just take a quick look. I don't think it's been long enough to have any big caterpillars. And I don't see any leaf damage either. That's one way you know, is the leaves start getting eaten. I don't really see, you know, what I should have done is put like a zip tie or a little sticker or something on here so I could find where the eggs were laid. I just remember it was more towards the top. One had an egg on the top of the leaf. I hope the wasps did not get them. All right, nothing to report here yet. One of the things I hope to do probably next year, because we're at the end of the season this year, is apply for a wildlife certification for my property, because I am definitely providing food and water and shelter for wildlife here. So in particular, bees and butterflies and birds. The birds ate thousands upon thousands of sunflower seeds. Every seed head that was not covered, all the good seeds are picked clean. If they've left any seed, you know they're not the best seed, right? So that's why you have to cover them if you want to get a few. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't, and click the bell for notifications. Scroll down and click all so you won't miss an episode right here at Late Bloomer Garden 2.0. God bless.